The one and only normal height available in the Range Rover means that either you have issues with one of the struts and it keeps leaking air, or there are issues with the compressor and the system works in simplified mode, so you can't change the height of the air suspension or use any of the preset modes. And there is a third possible culprit, the height sensor on one of the struts, which is the cheapest repair possible, but you should be quite lucky to be able to fix it with just replacing a height sensor. First of all, Land Rover air suspension is usually good for 100,000 miles. After that, it starts throwing one problem after another and becomes a money pit. But some vehicles can last much longer without any problems, so mileage itself is not a significant factor. If you have no tools and experience to check the suspension and don't want to pay 200 euros or pounds just for an inspection at the dealership, there is a simple test you may start with. In the evening, just after you turn off the engine, measure the distance from the floor to the highest part of the wheel arc on each wheel with the simple roulette and write it down. The distance should be more or less the same for both front wheels and for both rear wheels. If you see a significant difference here, the most likely culprit is the suspension height sensor on the strut that sits lower than the other one. If they look fine, remeasure the same distance in the morning after the car has been stationary for more than 10 hours. If you see a significant difference from yesterday's measurements, the most likely culprit of your problem is a leaking strut. But if the car sits at the same height for all four struts, the warning is very likely caused by the compressor that is starting to go out. Among all these issues, a relatively DIY solution is to replace the height sensor if you have detected that it may be the culprit. All other repairs will require professional tools and experience. Also, if you own a Land Rover with air suspension, you should think about getting tools for air suspension diagnostic to avoid paying 200-300 pounds each time something happens with it. Such tools will also help you make sure which exact part of the suspension causes a certain message and avoid throwing money down the drain for unnecessary repairs and diagnostics.